Hi, this is Pili, and today I'm going to talk about taking responsibility. So, I've had trouble with this in the past, and this might be a little deep today, but I think it's something that we have to talk about. It's about getting rid of blame and taking responsibility for the good and the bad, the horrible and the horrid, as well as our successes and our triumphs. So, a few years back, I was severely depressed and I was anorexic. I was very much underweight. My healthy body weight is anywhere between 125 and 145, depending. And I clocked in, I think the lowest I was 105. And in that period of my life, I was blaming myself, I think mostly, but then I was also blaming those around me, my environment, the fact that I didn't feel like I could catch a break, the fact that there was so much going on and maybe I just didn't have the time to eat, or the fact that I was depressed and I didn't know that I was, and I needed help and I couldn't recognize it. As much as my friends and my relatives and the people around me would tell me this, I chose not to listen. And that's the thing, I made the choice. I didn't take responsibility for my life, even though I could see myself in the mirror. I was getting, I was addicted to measuring my weight all the time. And I could see it getting lower and lower and lower. And it was almost like in my mind, it was self-defeating. At the same time, I was like, well, at least I'm healthy. I'm working out. I'm doing yoga. I'm running. I'm doing all these amazing things for my life. I'm eating healthy, when I do eat. So it took me completely changing my life and completely just leaving a part of my world behind. And even at that point, I still wasn't taking responsibility. I was sort of just shutting down. And I went to go live with my parents. And I shut myself off from the world. And I started working on myself. I started weight training. I started eating. I actually saw a doctor. I saw people that could help me retrain my mind. And I started the process of getting healthy again. Like if you would look at me during that time, yeah, I looked like and I was in my 20s. So I looked like a fairly healthy 20, almost 30-year-old, but inside I was hurting. So I had to take a deep dive and really work on those things that I needed help with. So number one, my mind. I had to retrain my mind to tell myself that it was okay to eat. It was okay to take care of myself. It was okay to talk to people who could uplift me. I could, and that I could pull myself out of this with the help of others, of course. For my body, I started weight training, like I said, eating healthier and eating more. Uh, I got myself on a calorie counter. So my doctor said at the weight I was at, I probably only needed about 1,300 calories. And he was guessing that I was probably not eating more than probably 1,000 calories. And like I couldn't say no because I could remember like just not eating and just like living off of coffee and water and I don't know, the air and energy. And what was happening is I'm also hypoglycemic, which means I have a tendency to run with a lower blood pressure. So not eating messed with my blood pressure and the way my body functions. So that was even making me more depressed because basically my brain wasn't getting enough nutrients to fully function correctly. So all this was going on. It was like this really, really bad circle. Like something would happen in my life, I wouldn't eat, and then the not eating would cause me to be even more depressed, and other factors in my life would get into my brain and basically mess with me because I allowed it to. I didn't take the responsibility for the information that I let filter into my head. So let's come back to the responsibility part. I understand, and I don't understand too. We all go through things, whatever it is. But I know, at least in my mind, my journey, it's those times that I have taken responsibility for my life, and especially responsibility for those bad things that have happened to my life and to me. And yes, when I say responsibilities, there are evil, horrendous things that happen to people. But the way these people that I've talked to have stepped out of these things is that they're taking responsibility to bring the good back in. The bad happens, but if you sit in that bad, chances are it's not going to get better. Chances are you're just going to relive it and be in it for however long it takes for you to recognize where you're at and take yourself out of it. Now, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I guess that's my disclaimer right now, but I am somebody who's experienced these things. And until you pull yourself out and make that decision to live your life on the more positive, happier side, on the side that things will get better and they do get better, on the side that you're pulling other people up with you, because students are always teachers and teachers are always students. So as I'm saying this, I know I have 5 other people behind me saying the same thing to me. So I'm hoping through their words and into mine that you are listening to this too, and you're thinking to yourself, I too can take responsibility for my happiness. That's what I mean by taking responsibility for the bad. Taking the responsibility for the bad means turning it into something that you can either learn from, you can grow out of, or grow into, to take that dirtiness and turn it into dirt, turn it into the fertilizer that you need to expand and extend your branches, whether that be in whatever you want to do. For me, it was growing and noticing and accepting the love that is and always has been around me, and taking in those peoples that I could grow with and grow into, and take the next step with them, whether it's my family, my husband, my children. So we have setbacks every step of the way. There's growth, there's times of growth, and there's times of contraction. It's in those times of contraction that we have to really look into ourselves and mold into what the next period of growth is going to look like. So take responsibility for both of those things that happen to you, because change happens all the time. So I take responsibility for my life, because I know that in those times that I haven't, those are usually my darkest times. And I haven't had one of those times for a while. So hopefully this is working. So I guess the moral of the story is, no matter what you're going through right now, if you can take the responsibility to see that one light, whatever it may be, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a great post you saw on Instagram, maybe it's these words that I'm telling you right now. Grab onto whatever light, however small it is, and create your own. Make it brighter and brighter and brighter until you can feel the light just within you and shine from without, because that is the way to grow out of the bad and into the good. So this is Pili. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say today. It was a little close to my heart. It's not something I talk about all the time. I write about my experience with depression and anorexia in our book. So if you want more information on some of my life struggles and how I turned that into the dirtiness into dirt that I could grow out of, please pick up our book at www.fitrichlife.com/book. And if you enjoyed what you heard, please rate, review, and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. You are amazing. If you need to hear this, you got this. and you have my permission to shine and shine brightly. Thank you so much.